Hi, John from Race Moto. So we've just finished the silver class on the only Ultra, and that's probably a world first in a national hard enduro event on an Ultra. So 4 hours of absolute torture, unbelievably tricky and challenging terrain. So the Ultra did pretty well, but it does need some things done to it to make it really like a competitive bike. We didn't have time to set this up, unfortunately, because we picked it up on the way to the event and I actually just jumped on it and rode in the event, so learning as I was going. It feels a bit odd. It tends to put you over the front bars a lot more, and there's a lot of pressure on your arms. Now, it could be one of two things. Maybe we need to roll the bars back a bit. Definitely it could be that we've got a 19-inch front wheel on this, and we've put a larger knobby on the back because the standard tyre just would not cut it on any of this terrain. So we put on the standard rim, and the standard rim is too narrow as well, and there's no rim locks, so we had to have high tyre pressure. But that being said, we got some really good traction. In sport mode, there were some absolutely nasty hills that we went up, and I was able to torque it up and maneuver the front as it's coming off, do switchbacks, go over a lot of really hard stuff. But coming downhill with this tyre combo, it was really dangerous because the front was washing out over the bars too low. So I mean, that's a simple fix. 21-inch front, 18-inch rear. Now the tyres, we've got a 100 on here, but you could technically go a 120. I don't know if you go a 140 in here, maybe an 18-inch gummy, let the tyre pressure out, put a mousse in it. Could be really good. If you zoom in here, you'll see even with this large tyre, we've got a bit of space there. So that's pretty good. The other issue that I found with the bike is that you have to be on the brakes a lot. I would prefer if it had more regen, because you tend to get a lot of forearm pump by always being off and on the brakes. If you have the engine braking with regen, then you don't have to rely on the brakes as much. Also, I do need to adjust the brake levers because they were too far out and they were really giving me some cramps. But that's a little thing, that's just an adjustment thing. Now, let's talk about range. So this is as hard as it gets. You have man-made obstacles, but you also have absolute climbs and descents, full power trying to get up some of these slopes, and a lot of bottlenecks with people stuck. Battery range, this was a 20-kilometer track, which I would say that might be 14 miles. Came back, hit 20%, wasn't at the finish line, it's dropped, and I've had to go and just crawl, and it won't go up a hill, you got to go flat ground. Any hills that it just stops. So as soon as you hit 20%, you're dead in the water. You really just have to crawl home. So I would have expected more range on my Surron X, which is set up. I have a 72 volt system with a 40 ampere hour battery, and I get more range than this. I would expect 25 to 30 Ks. So why was that? I'm not sure, but probably if I did this event again, I'd disconnect the headlight, because I've got 4 hours of the headlight on. I don't know how much that's going to drain, I have to do some math. But in any case, I mean, not everyone's going to do hard enduro, are they? But this thing did really well. It had lots of crashes. So nothing much broke. We broke a chain guard down the bottom. We did crash quite a lot, and a few of the switches are broken. We did have trouble during the event with this get ready switch. For some reason it just went faulty, and you really have to press and wiggle it hard. Yesterday we lost a whole hour over that. We had to withdraw on the first day because of that switch. It obviously doesn't let the motor go on. So the seat's really comfy. It lets you get forward. Ergonomics, as I said, are quite good. I just need to probably fiddle with the bars and adjust things. I felt like the foot pegs needed to come back, but that might have just been because there's a smaller front wheel. So yeah, I think my next step is to get a 21/18" on this as quickly as possible. The performance was great, ran sport mode all the time. I definitely need a spare battery. I need to swap a battery after a lap. Suspension was good. Didn't notice anything bad with the suspension, like we're hitting some really hard logs and rocks and all sorts of things. So, and we haven't really dialed it in, but I didn't notice it. Like with the X, I would have been absolutely pounded and crushed, whereas this felt good. It was comfortable, so that's good. Ground clearance. It doesn't really have enough ground clearance for your really big obstacles, so you're smacking the bash plate or the skid plate quite a lot, but it's held up so far. It looks quite robust. Looks like they've actually, used our concept with race spec and put on a nylon bash plate, because they do take a bit of knocking. What else? I think overall quite happy with it. I did find the extra weight compared to my X when you're in a tricky situation as a disadvantage, but definitely the X is, the wheelbase is too short. When you're on this extremely steep hills on an X, they tend to want to flip over, whereas this was quite stable. I could get in the right position and it wanted to lift, but I could actually steer it on the back wheel through the ruts and up the steep hills and get some traction. A good point on all the X's I've ridden, if you're stuck on a hill, it's very hard to get motion again. They're very notchy, and it sort of either wants to break off fast or it doesn't actually go. Whereas this, I was able to stop and actually it would just chunk along and then I could go. So restarting on hills, a big bonus on this. So they've programmed it really well with the throttle curve. I did do quite a bit of whiskey throttling. It is quite sensitive. So that's where if you hit a bump and all of a sudden you accidentally touch it, you accelerate when you don't want to. And that's more just me getting used to it. So yeah, overall, a really good bike. Looking forward to doing a few things to it, a few mods, especially the wheels, get a spare battery. I might try and, just tweak with a few little things, but nothing major. I reckon it's a really good bike. So we are trying to get a few people to ride these who want to build up the sport. So reach out to us. There'll be a link below if you want to actually join us and ride one of these, and we'll give you some support somehow. That's if you're in Australia, by the way, not overseas. So we'd like to get at least 10 of these riding out there and eventually just have an all-electric class. We'll see how that goes. And I think we've got a bit of interest at this stage, and definitely if this bike makes it around a silver track, be perfect for bronze tracks. Definitely perfect for your riding, your trails. That's a winner. And obviously being quiet, that's the biggest bonus. Even if it's not as good as your Shercos and your KTMs, the fact that you can ride it more in more places and have as much fun, that's the winner. So yeah, look, we'll try and keep you up to date with any changes. It's a really good bike. Look forward to riding a bit more and sorting it out. Contact us, tell us what you think and ask us any questions. We'll see if we can help.